Hello and welcome to the Do I Regret Verissa summons, and the answer is no, but I do think that she was definitely overhyped. As we talk about Verissa, feel free to subscribe. We're trying to get to 10,000 before the end of the year. Thank you very much. Personally, for me, she's good, but to the point of being like second best DPS in the game, even with a 40% increase at like best, I don't think that is, going to be the case. Main reason why I say 40% increase is because the Widzith is the weapon that I'm currently using her on, and, in some instances, her own, specific weapon can be a 40% increase. Now, there's also external factors like Eon-san. Also, I don't have her at C6, so that's definitely going to factor into, Verissa's damage, because overall, trying to use Bennett with Verissa, very, very bad. Verissa just moves too much. So Eon-san is basically a must on her team, and honestly, it's not bad. I don't consider that a weakness because Eon-san is just that good, and generally, Eon-san is a good, substitute for Bennett. Honestly, the way that I look at her, she just substitutes Bennett on a lot of teams, so you're able to use Bennett on, another side. So, yeah, I don't think that this character is like second best DPS in the game, but I do think that she's very, very strong, and I will probably be using her in the future, no matter what kind of content it is, because I think she is still upwards of that strength. And I think I would basically put her on Kenich's level if I had to, say. I would say, well, let me find the man. Where is he? So Kenich, it seems like they do around the same damage, at least for me. If I were to, give Verissa that extra, damage, when I'm looking at her numbers, and I'm like, okay, well, this would be, 200,000 easily, or, 250, maybe 300,000. It seems like they do around the same damage. So, to me, Verissa's not that insane. It's tough to, judge Verissa right now, because barely anybody has a proper Eon-san who is able to provide, it's probably going to end up being... If I were to give Verissa her weapon, so let me go find out her base attack if I do that. So Verissa's attack is over 1,000 with her weapon, her base attack, which basically means that, Eon-san, even just having her C2 is an extra 300 attack, which is pretty insane. I also don't have C6 Chevy, so it's hard for me to really judge Verissa, just because, she's reliant on 4-star constellations, which I don't have, but, I've used her. She seems really strong to me. Better than Arlecchino? No. I don't think I would put her in the same tier as Mavwika, Arlecchino, Nevi, right? I don't think those characters. I think those characters still are a level above. One, because they have easier ways to do damage. Like Verissa, she's good, but she's not, super reliable, she definitely can, easily, oh, sorry, we messed up a little bit there. Didn't actually hit the enemy. That's just the nature of some plunge characters, right? It's just how it goes. If the enemy moves fastly while you're still plunging downwards, they can just miss. It's just how they work. Whereas with a character like Mavwika, her AoE is just so big that you can't really miss unless, you actually, unless it's Magokenki and he goes across the map. But at that point, he might already be dead. He just might already be dead. So Verissa, very, very strong. I do wish I had her weapon because I really do want to, use this character more. I don't have her weapon. It's just not in the cards for me to get her weapon. She definitely has a lot of room for improvement on my account. But even without, that room for improvement, she still feels good. She still, sure, she feels, worse than a lot of my other DPSs. But I can tell, this character is going to be pretty insane once you get, C6 Chevy, C6 Eon-san, once you get those characters and then you add on maybe even her weapon, she's going to be looking crazy, right? She's going to be doing a lot of damage. It's pretty easy to tell. And I did kind of get lucky with my artifacts. If we go ahead and look at my artifacts, this is all basically, 2 days of farming from my artifacts. Or maybe 5, maybe a week. I don't know when I actually finished up my build, and I haven't gotten improvement since. But yeah, this is kind of where we're at with my artifacts, and it's not bad. The only issue I see is that I don't have any energy recharge, which definitely, shows its head when, certain times it's like, oh, I'm going to use the Q. Oh, Q's not ready. Certain times it can show that. But using this, it seems to be very strong. I can't really, point holes into this character, right? If I'm being entirely honest, I don't have anything that I could say badly about this character. This character seems very strong. She seems very good. Like, there's actually, like, nothing I can really say that's like, oh, she's bad. Like, there's no point in her kit. Like, I don't feel it ever, right? Like, I mean, I guess she could do more consistently, like, just the normal damage, right? Her damage numbers are a little weird with the way that they're measured, but I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Like, it just doesn't, because she still ends up doing a lot of damage. So, like, sure, the display of the damage numbers, like, she's not front loading her damage, but who cares? Like, it's fine. She's still doing a lot of damage. There's no real way for me to actually, like, say that this character is bad in any way. Like, I genuinely just don't feel like this character is bad. Like, her design is confusing, but it's nothing else. Like, if you play the character, you can kind of get a feel and you can understand, you know, what you're doing and everything. She's good. That it's as simple as that. Like, it's not like, oh man, Risley, you know, he's got some kinks. No, she really doesn't. It doesn't feel like that when you play her. It feels normal when you play her. It's a little weird that her burst, you don't really ever use the full cost version. So it's kind of a little weird that they reward you for using the burst. So it makes you seem like you want to use the burst, but then you never actually use the burst. I guess one thing other to mention is, like, her Constellation's not strong at all, right? Maybe I should also mention this. Her Constellation's not strong, right? This is a byproduct of having a really strong weapon that they just saw and, like, we're like, let's not make C1 too strong. Because if you look at, like, a character like Arlecchino, right? Let's go to Arlecchino real quick. I don't know where she is, but I will find her. So here's Arlecchino, right? Her weapon is about a 20% increase. Her C1 is about a 20% increase. So that's 40% in total. Well, Verissa's weapon is often said to be 30% or 40%, you know, depending on how desperate you are for some of the stats that it provides. Like, if you have very low crit damage, it can be, like, way high up. But if you don't have a lot of crit damage, or if you have a lot of crit damage, it's not going to be huge, you know. Like, if you have, let's say you have 100 crit damage, I mean, her weapon, I think, alone gives you 100 extra crit damage. So that would double your damage, right? Generally, it's calced at 30 to 40%. So let's just say 30%. Well, her C1 is constantly, or not constantly, but it's been, you know, like, oh, it's like a 7% or something. It's a very low percentage, but it kind of evens out and is like, oh, you know, do 7% here, let's just say 7%. And then, like, 30% from her weapon, that's 37%. Well, Arlecchino had 40%. Aren't those numbers very close? So yeah, that's just one thing. Her weapon is just so good that even, like, you know, I guess this is actually something I should talk about. Like, her weapon is so good that no matter what weapon you're using on her, whether it's Lost Prayer or something, you really don't have, like, a good option as replacement. It feels kind of like Nevi, but you don't have even a battle pass weapon that can really replace it. Because Nevi's battle pass weapon, I believe, if I go to, let me go to KQM real quick. So an R5 Sacrificial Jade for Nevi is 6% worse than his Tome, which, you know, that's not a lot, but, you know, Nevi's weapon, if we look at, you know, comparatively to his, you know, free-to-play sort of weapon, you know, it's 37%. So it's a pretty big jump, right? Obviously. And that's, okay, that's no Fiorina. Hold on. Let's see with Fiorina. It's only a 2% gap with 134% of prototype Amber. Yeah. So I'm just, yeah. So it's sort of a similar situation because, I mean, it's still a 30% increase for, you know, just the Tome. Which, you know, it matters, right? Like, that matters that, you know, if you're a free-to-play player, you literally do not want to spend any money on this game, and you will not get Sacrificial Jade ever. If you are that player, then you're going to have an issue, you know, with Nevi, and he's going to be, you know, a lot weaker without his weapon, and that's basically what we experience with Verissa if you don't have her weapon, right? Personally, if you like the character, I assume that you're going to summon for her weapon, just like a load of Hutao mains summoned for her C1 or her weapon, right? The Hutao mains love to just go ahead and, you know, talk about how they got C1 and all that stuff every single day. You know, trust me, there's already a comment in the comment section that's already explaining how they got their C1 and it's like the best thing that's ever happened to them, and it's so relieving. It's almost like getting a girlfriend, but it's virtual, so like they didn't. I also just broke a Hutao main's heart. So yeah, the weapon definitely matters. Like, the weapon issue definitely matters because, you know, Widsith being her best weapon, there is a, I'm assuming, 1/3 chance of getting literally no buff from this. And this is her best 4-star free-to-play weapon, kind of. It's very annoying, but it is what it is at this point. So I guess that is something worth talking about, because it is very annoying. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video, because I don't really see any other thing to say about Verissa. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.